What's up, guys? Can't Flip for Ship here. And this is an all-time grail of mine. This right here is a V1 Rebola. I have wanted this knife since I started seriously flipping back in 2020, which is an extremely long time. And, you know, it's one of those things where you almost forget about, the things that you really, really want until you get the chance to get one. And this is one of those times where I was able to get it, and it's sort of a little bit of a weird story to go along with it. Again, while I'm doing this, I'm not going to be doing any sort of like super crazy tricks with this balisong because it's actually extremely sharp, like razor sharp. And I am probably going to keep it that way just because this is one of the very few balisongs that I probably will actually just carry and use as like a regular knife in my everyday life. And the reason why is because, well, just because to me, it's a beautiful grail, and it represents, balisong flipping in the way that it originally was to me. So anyways, all that to be said, so this journey started quite a few months back. I messaged Black Balisong and I said, hey man, are you ever going to, start reproducing your V1 Rebola again? I was like, the blade, everybody I know loves the blade, and yet, you don't really make it anymore. And he said, yeah, I am not planning on doing it, but I do have an extra one lying around. And I said, oh, really? No way. Would you ever, would you be interested in letting it go? Would you be interested in selling it? And he basically said, yeah, man, just, is it something that you would want? And I said, yeah, of course. And so, that's really mostly the story about how I got it. And then, he did charge me an arm and a leg for it. And I did end up getting it with the V1 fat handles. So this is basically an all original V1 Rebola that I have here. This is probably the balisong that I've wanted for a very long time. I want to see how long I could hold that 0G for. And yeah, man, it's just such a surreal moment for me. I don't even know how to go about talking about it because it's just like insane that I had the chance to get this. And I just feel like completely enamored by it. It's a beautiful blade. You don't really see this style anywhere. I don't know why he stopped making it. My thoughts is probably that it was very hard to grind. And then, the Rebolas now are nice, but they're not, I don't think they're anywhere near this level of quality, or not necessarily quality. The quality is, going to be the same, but I think they're not near this level of appeal and of look. And obviously, not as many people, want the Rebola, the new Rebola, as they want a V1. So, and if you see a V1 blade going around, it's way more rare to see people that are willing to get rid of them. But all that being said, I will talk a little bit about my journey. So I asked to get this balisong. I paid for this balisong in like mid-December. And I just barely got this balisong like a week ago. So like almost pretty much April. Now, that is a fucking long ass time. And another thing about this balisong is that it's supposed to be engraved. So it says Rebola here, that's how the blades come. But on the opposite side, it's supposed to have an engraving. I talked to Black Balisong whenever I very first asked for this balisong, and basically we said, hey, I would love to have this piece engraved. I would love to have you, put a mark on it to just show and commemorate the fact that this is, the last Rebola blade that you pretty much have. And he said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And so, that was at the start of the process and everything like that. And then somewhere along the line, he said, hey, I don't have a lot of like people that do engraving around me, so it might be a while. And I said, okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not in a rush, and this is like a grail of mine, so take your time. Ow, I just fucking diced myself good, proper. But yeah, so yeah, I told him, take your time. Just, I want to make sure that I get a good product. I'm not trying to rush you here. And so yeah, that was pretty much that. And then I messaged him a little bit later on, and I'm like, hey man, what's the status update of all this? And he's basically saying like, I'm still trying to get it engraved. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I reach out, a month later to see like, hey, what's going on? Is it any update? And he's like, oh yeah, man, I found a place that does it, so I just got to take it to a place that's like not in my town, but it's nearby, and I'm gonna get it engraved. I said, okay, all right. So then I message him eventually, and I say, hey man, it's been a very long time. Do you have any sort of update as to the whereabouts of this balisong? And he basically says, yeah, so like, it's a lot, ended up being like a lot. Oh shit, almost got myself again. It's almost done. I just have to get it engraved. That's the last step. At this point, I'm just like, dude, like, you said you were going to get engraved how many times now? Like, whatever. I'll just give him one more chance. So I reach back out after a little bit more time, and sure enough, he still has not gotten it done. And, this is not a new story with Black Balisong. This is like, he's pretty well known for being like terrible at responding. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself like, it's not that big of a deal. Let's just see, how it goes. I'm not like in a crazy rush to get it or anything like that. So hopefully, I can just thug it out, and then we'll see how it goes. Well, again, I messaged back out after even more time, and his response to me is, yeah, man, I'm sorry that it's taking a while to get out. I'm gonna get it situated, but if you want a refund, then I can just refund it. And I'm telling him like, it's not that I want a refund, man. It's that you're taking fucking forever to get the balisong to me, and it's been like way long. It's like if that's the only option, then yeah, I'll take the refund. But if you can get it out to me, then get it out to me. And so then a couple weeks after that, I message him and ask him like what's going on, and he says, I'm gonna send it off to get tuned. And I said, okay, all right, cool, sounds good. Gonna get it tuned. That's at least we're making progress on something, you know what I mean? And so then me and Fox Fire Factory, I had some stuff that I had ordered from him, and I follow him on Instagram, so I know him pretty well, and or at least decently well. And he basically messages, I see on his story that he has a V1 Rebola, and I'm like, well, there's only really one of those that exists, and it's mine. So I message him, I say, hey, that's mine, by the way. And he says, oh, LOL. He said, well, I have it ready. I just haven't messaged, or I haven't got any word from Black Balisong yet. And I was like, well, he knows that, like, he tells me that he knows it's ready. I'm like, if he knows it's ready, then just ship it to me. You know what I mean? So I'm trolling. So it's been ready, and he still just hasn't decided to ship it. So then maybe a week after that, Black Balisong reaches out and is basically like, yeah, I got it shipped to you. So we're shipping it to you. Just send me your address. So that's pretty much the whole process of this. And it has been a fucking shit show, but it's been sorted out. So I have it now against all odds. So yeah, that was my experience doing business with Black Balisong. I'd message him all the time about it. He just never respond or just take forever. I'm surprised that I even got the product in the first place. And all the while that all this shit is happening, he's literally releasing videos on Instagram every day, literally ghosting me, not responding back. And he's posting videos about the new Reaper. He's like, this is a passion. This is a drive. You don't understand what it's like to put everything you have into something whenever you just grind and you know that what you're doing is your absolute passion. And I'm like, dude, you haven't even fucking messaged me back. It's been fucking 2 months. What do you mean? You're over here talking about oh, this ain't no joke to me. This ain't no, he's putting he's just saying all this stuff for the fuck of it on Instagram. But it's like, dude, you say you take your craft seriously, but you're posting all this stuff about oh yeah, when you're a real craftsman, and you take your drive seriously, and you take your shit seriously, then you know that this is your blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm like, dude, did it take blood, sweat, and tears just to text me back for like just to let me know like what's going on with the product? Anyways, as you can see, I'm a little bit burnt about it, but at the end of the day, I got my piece, and he didn't have to tell me that it was available. He didn't have to make this for me, so I am grateful for that. But in some regard, I am a little bit upset, because it's just like, dude, this could have been so much easier and so much simpler. And I turned down other things at the time so that I could have this. However many months later, I have it. So I guess in some regard, it's here now, but I won't ever probably be getting anything else from Black Balisong ever again. This was like a one-off in a moment where I thought to myself, hey, this guy makes amazing stuff, and I really always wanted the Ribola, the V1. It's one of those. I saw a viral Balisong clip from it whenever I very first got into flipping, and it just inspired me. And it's just something where I always wanted one ever since. But now I have one, right? So now I have the Balisong that I always wanted, and the journey to get here, man, like looking back at this amazing hobby and how much it's given me and how much I put into it, in my mind, I'm like, it's kind of reminiscent of that, right? Because I always wanted to have a channel where I could reach out to people and have a great community, and I always wanted to have this Balisong. And even though it's been, several years, now 5 years, something like that, 4 years that I've been doing this. And same thing, it took several months to get to me with this Balisong. It's the perfect analogy. It's the perfect situation, right? It's the perfect metaphor for where we're at now. And I will never let this thing go. This is probably, for me, I've had more expensive Balisongs. I've had more like higher performing Balisongs. I've had cool, like rarer Balisongs. But to me, this is my magnum opus. This is the best Balisong I've ever had. And I have to be thankful to Black Balisong for being able to offer that to me, for being able to let me have the opportunity to have this. So in that regard, I'll be forever grateful. But man, was it a pain in the ass to do business with him. And again, I don't think I probably ever will again. But yeah, guys, that's the story of the V1 Ribola. This is a Balisong that you cannot buy. Rock on.